Dan Graziano, Cowboys dominate the Eagles on Monday Night Football. They're now 2-1.
That's hot news because right now, the weekend the NFC East had, you've got to put the Cowboys head and shoulders beyond any of those other three teams right now. So, I think the fact that they were dominant, we're so used to the Cowboys letting us down, right? Oh, are they going to come out and push the Eagles around last night? No, they looked great. I mean, they did everything they needed to do on both sides of the ball, and it looks like there's one really high-quality team in the NFC East right now.
And that it is hot news because, like Dan just said, they let you down so many times over the last several years that finally they got a defense where you go, okay. And I know it's against the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and young receivers and stuff like that.
No.
But everything was right. Everything looked shiny and good. Zeke Elliott got going. The impressive thing on an offensive side is there was no interceptions from Dak Prescott. I understand he fumbled. Okay, big deal. But he didn't give the ball to the other team. When you're hit from behind, most times than not, quarterbacks are going to fumble.
You know, when you win, obviously it erases a lot of mistakes. But Key, you said everything looked right. There was one thing that didn't look right, but I'm still giving them the benefit of the doubt because they won the game. It's hot news because I will be paying attention to Mike McCarthy's clock management. Last two games, Chargers game and then before half, I'm just paying attention to it. It's a narrative you're starting to pay attention to more and more.
He's at home last night, so he knows where the clocks are.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
man. That's all I'm saying.
It is hot news because you got to show me. Like, forget about letting you down everything. Every year in the NFC East, recently, bad teams, Cowboys are one of them. They looked good competitive against good teams first 2 weeks. They blew out an NFC least team. That's hot news. They are clearly the class of the division. As everyone thought ahead of time, I was not convinced. I am now. Hot news or not news, Dan Graziano, Josh Gordon signing with the Chiefs.
I went with not. I feel like we've seen this so many times now with Josh Gordon, and I understand what he struggles with, and hopefully he deals with it in a positive way going forward. But just from the football standpoint, you know, he's out, he's back in, someone signs him. The last couple times he ends up on Seattle, really wasn't a factor for them. He's 30 years old now. His monster year is 8 years ago now. I think people,
13.
yeah,
Wow.
so I think people are hanging on to something that's probably not
young.
there anymore. Chiefs need a little help at receiver, need some depth there. They're not getting what they want out of Mecole Hardman in that group, but I think they're better off if they start getting that than if, you know, Josh Gordon becomes their number 2.
Here's why it's hot news to me. It's not so much on the field, it's off the field because Andy Reid understands these challenges that Josh has faced because he's had to deal with it with his own kids. So Big Red is like, you know, going to put his arms around a situation to try to guide him in the right direction. You don't see a lot of coaches and front office people make decisions knowing that it might go the wrong way. But he's willing to take that chance, so it becomes hot news to me because of that. And then on the field, they need a big receiver. They just if it works out, they got itty bitties. They need, other than Kelsey, they need a tree to go get the ball for Patrick Mahomes in the red zone.
You know, it's hot news. A lot of people say, you know, I wonder if he can get himself out of it. But it's never he when you go through addiction issues, right? Like I was addicted to opiates. It was we. Who do you surround yourself with that helps pick you up each and every day? So, Key, just to add on to your point about Andy Reid, the culture of the organization, I want to see Josh Gordon win.
Hot news. Let me tell you something about America that appeals to the human condition, like even like bankruptcy laws and stuff like that. As long as you're not hurting others, you're talking about self-inflicted damage. 1,000,000 chances, 1,000,001, 1,000,002. You keep taking those shots. You pick yourself up off the deck, dust yourself off, try again. Maybe it doesn't work this time. Maybe it does, but I think it's safe to say we're all rooting for him.
Now I feel like the bad guy now for making it about football in my answer.
No, not at all, Dan. Dan, not at all. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Hot news or not news, Dan Graziano. Matt Nagy says all 3 Bears quarterbacks being considered to start Week 4.
That's obviously hot news. I mean, like this is I think Dalton probably doesn't make it back this week from a health standpoint. And I think Foles probably isn't a real consideration when all is said and done, so it probably is Fields again. But the fact that it's said indicates that there's just a lot more uncertainty around that situation than I think we all wish there was regarding Justin Fields and whether he's ready to go. The head coach does not have the same opinion that most of us seem to have.
It's hot news and stupid at the same time. Like, it's hot because you're out there trying to set a narrative to make us feel like Justin Fields isn't ready. Well, that's okay. He's only ready. He's only not ready because you put him in a position not to be ready. It's almost like a sabotage of some sort to prove a point to everybody. And I've seen coaches do this, as crazy as it may sound. They put people in bad positions so they can show you, see, I'm right.
It sure feels that way. Like,
Absolutely.
It feels that way.
I have a hard time going there. I mean, look, I don't think
Dan, you've already weighed in on hot news or not news, and we're not kicking puppies here. I know you'd like to.
What I said, though, what I was saying there, though, Dan, is it's not that he's saying I'm putting him out there so he can fail.
Yeah.
But he's putting him out there to not help him achieve some of the things that he can do by simply protections, putting him on the move, doing things that suit his skill set. So it becomes deliberate. How can you tell me that a guy has 4 sacks, Dan, and you know this is covering the sport for a long time, 4 sacks in the first half, and then you give up 5 in the second half because you make no adjustments at halftime. None of your assistant coaches came downstairs out of the press box and said, hey, this is what they're doing to us. Can we put him on the perimeter? So nobody did that.
9 sacks, 2 of them came on play action, 3 of them came when they were in max protection. I mean, it's not like they weren't doing anything.
They were doing they were actually doing very little. If you look at the number of times they brought help to an offensive line that struggled, a number of times they dropped them back, even if that is the case that he was getting sacked under different conditions. Didn't move the pocket, didn't move him out of the pocket.
But I just I mean, Ford nakeds where they sacked him once and he didn't gain yards. I mean, like, they did move him a little bit. Like, they ran 46 plays in the game. The Browns ran 47 in the first half.
Okay.
So, like, it is a little bit of a small sample size. I get where the narrative has gone on this, and I think if people want to say Matt Nagy's not a good coach and they have more than just Sunday to base that on, fair enough.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.